In this video, we're going to cover the powerful feature known as the Query Manager within TPS. Query managers create queries within the program, and basically what a program is when you ask the data set for a particular set of information based on a criteria such as a date range or whether patient's information exists in a specific area or not. Let's go ahead and get started. Up here at the top, we have the menu bar with the Tools option. We can select it, and then down the list we have Query Manager. Clicking that will open a new window, the Query Manager. Over here on the right we have some options. We're going to add a new query that's going to pull up a list of patients who have an email and then also display that email. So I'll go ahead and click Add and name this Patient Email List. And then immediately after we're done adding the patient email list name, it's going to bring us to the criteria where we pick a particular piece of information and then select specific conditions based on which the information is pulled. So I'm looking for my patient email, which I know to be down here, just past the referral section. Click Next Step. And here we have different options to choose from. I could select certain patient emails that begin with certain characters, contain certain text, is empty or is not empty, and a bunch of other options. What I'm looking for are patients who have email in the system, so I'm looking for patient email fields that are not empty. Now, if I wanted more criteria, such as patients who have an email but have also been in the office in a certain time, I could continue to add different criteria here. I'm good for now, so I'll go ahead and hit Done. And it asks if I'd like to run the query now. I would. Here I select the information that will actually display after the query is run. I'll go ahead and select last name, patient first name, and their code, and of course their email. Once I'm done, I'll click Done. And if I wanted to sort them by perhaps their first name instead of their last name, I could, but because last name is first, it'll sort it by that, and I don't need it to sort by anything else. Once I'm ready, I can hit Run Query. And this little bit of debugging code will pop up, mainly for us here at Eon, in case we need to troubleshoot something. However, if you do know some query code, you can go ahead and look at this yourself and see what's going on. Either way, when you're finished, you can click this red X here to close the screen, and a preview of the information that just got pulled will appear. Here we can see that 2 patients have emails in the system, Ben and patient here, their codes, and then the email that's in the program. Once you're done previewing, you can go ahead and hit the X button again, and it'll let you know how many records were found, and if we'd like to continue to create a column layout report, we would. From here we have a few options. We can go back to that window we were just in by clicking Browse Results. Start Report will begin the function selected over here on the left. Printer will send the query to a couple pieces of paper to the default printer. If I click Start Report, the printer options come up here. Screen will allow you to screen preview. Here we can see a basic layout of what it would look like. And then disk file will save it to a text file when I hit Start. The Edit Form button here allows me to edit the form for this particular query. I could edit the margins, I could change patient first name to simply first name or something else. Same thing with patient code or email. Up here at the top I have a pick output type. Currently it's a column layout report. If I click this button, however, I can go ahead and select something like a Microsoft Excel sheet. If I select this and hit Done, and then run my query one more time, instead of the basic column layout report menu we just saw, it'll let us create an Excel spreadsheet of the data we just pulled. From here you can export this to various other documents, merge it with other documents, or organize the data in a new and exciting way. We're not going to save that for now, so I'll hit No. And let's go ahead and run another query. I'm done, so I'll click Done. And I'll hit Add to add the new query. And this time I'll type in patient diagnosis, because we're going to find a specific diagnosis for a patient. Click OK. This time I need to find claim diagnoses, because that's where patient diagnoses are stored. And we're going to choose contains text. So basically, it'll pull information for patients based on whether the claim diagnoses contains whatever I type in here. Now, I could create one that pulls a specific diagnosis code, or I could hit this Ask Later button, which will ask me every single time I run the query for a new code. That way I can have one query that accomplishes any number of diagnosis codes I'm looking for, instead of having to create a query for every single diagnosis code that might be in my program, because that would be tedious. Click Ask Later. We can see here that it will be entered at a different time. We're going to go ahead and run that different time right now. Again, we're going to pull the patient's last name, their first name, and perhaps their code. Once I'm done, I'll click Done and get ready to run the query. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my diagnosis code, 847. Done. And here we can see that one patient has that particular diagnosis code. Now, you're going to have a lot more patients than just me. So there's going to be a much larger list here, and it's going to make running the query a lot more worthwhile. This way, you don't have to search through every single patient to find a particular diagnosis code. The Query Manager is also extremely helpful when you're trying to find information that one of our reports just doesn't quite have, or you want to find extra information on top of that. It's a very powerful tool and a little more difficult to use than some of the other features. So go ahead and practice at it for a little bit. And remember that we here at Eon are always available for tech support if you need us.